In 2007, a new addictive drug took over the world. In less than 15 years, over half the world's population was using this drug, and it has led to an increase in anxiety, depression, and mental health issues in people of all age ranges. And yet, most people don't even know that this drug existed. And the ironic thing is you're most likely holding this drug right now. This drug is called your smartphone. My promise to you is at the end of this video, you will have saved 10+ years of your life by applying some of the principles that we're about to teach you. And it all starts here. What you're seeing is the graph of the life expectancy of an 18-year-old in months. Now, the colored dots are the things that we have to do. There are things like basic hygiene, there are things like sleeping. There are just things that keep us alive and keep us clean. Now, the blank dots are interesting because they are the amount of time that we have to spend with loved ones, to create things that matter, to do things that make life worth living. So how we spend this time is going to determine the quality of our lives. And as you can see, if you're 18, you probably don't have that much time left. If you're 40 years old, or actually 44 in my case, you really don't have that much time left. What you should know is that globally, people are averaging over 7 hours a day looking at their phones. And daily screen time has increased by 50 minutes every single year since 2013. Now, if you're someone that's 40 years old like myself and you spend 7 hours a day on your phone, that will amount to 11+ years spent looking at a screen. So that being said, do you want to take 10+ years of your life back and start living a better life? Well, I'm going to show you 5 steps that I've used to reduce my screen time by at least 50% and just improve wildly the quality of my life. And here's the first step. The first step is awareness. It's you watching this video. It's you educating yourself on the dangers of smartphone usage. And when it comes to smartphone usage, not only are you wasting time by trying to get these instant dopamine hits, what's happening as a result is that you are changing your brain as you are looking at this screen. Chronic phone usage has been shown to change your brain chemistry. It affects GABA production, which can be the early warning signs of addiction. It triggers dopamine, which gives you this short-term boost of motivation, which is followed by a letdown afterwards. And it's also been shown to shrink the gray and white matter inside of your brain. They've actually done studies where they had people's brains who were addicted to smartphones and brains of people who were addicted to drugs, and they actually found similar differences in the gray and white matter of their brains. And this shouldn't surprise you. The more time that you spend on your phone, the more it kind of just makes you crave to even want the phone in the first place. You might want to ask yourself, do I feel craving towards reaching for my phone, especially during times of boredom, when I'm feeling an emotion or when I'm feeling anxious? And do you actually feel sometimes irritated if you don't have your phone or if you lose it? And how would I know these things? Because I have lived through all of these myself. I would consider myself to be a massive addict to my smartphone, much like many other people that I know. And the game's changed for me in a large sense because I'm not only needing as much focus as I can to build my businesses, I also need to be present with my family. I have a wife and 2 daughters who I absolutely adore and love, and one of the major impediments to me being present with them is my smartphone. And one thing you have to understand is that it's not necessarily the smartphone itself that is causing the addiction. You have to look at the smartphone as like a gun, so to speak, and you want to look at the apps that you're using as pulling the trigger. The apps are designed to keep you on that phone and to keep you on that platform as long as humanly possible. So they will send out all sorts of graphics, bells, whistles, notifications to make sure that you are staying addicted to your phone. In the 2011 interview, Steve Jobs went on to talk about his kids and their iPad usage, which actually he went to talk about his kids and their absence of iPad usage. This is what he said. He said, "We don't allow the iPad in the home. We think it's too dangerous for them in effect." And even Google's CEO Sundar Pichai limits his 11-year-old's access to television, and he refuses to get him a smartphone. But what are we doing as parents, or what are we seeing most parents doing? We're seeing them just like give them the iPad, we're seeing them give them the phones, and that quite possibly can be one of the most dangerous things that we could do to our children. So awareness is the first step. You have to ask yourself and be honest with yourself, are you addicted to your phone? You have to ask yourself also, what is this phone taking away from you? You literally want to get out a journal and you want to ask yourself, where are the times that you find yourself using this smartphone? And also, what kind of feelings and emotions come up that cause you to crave the grabbing of your smartphone itself? Now, the first step is what you're doing right now. You're watching a video just like this that's educating you on smartphone usage. And just like changing any part of your life, awareness comes first. Admitting that you have a problem is a precursor to fixing the problem itself. So one of the things that you may want to do that is a little bit practical is something that I did, which is just to track your time using your smartphone. This is called a time study. You can call it whatever you want, but one of the things I had was this Excel spreadsheet that lined up my entire day, at least like the 16 hours that I was awake. And then I would note down everything that I was doing in order to get a little bit better of a handle on my time. Now, the most messed up thing that I found in this time study was the amount of time that I spent on my smartphone looking at how many likes I got on Twitter, how many likes I got on Instagram. And this is coming from a guy like me where I have over a million and a half followers on social media. So this is a little bit more pronounced with me. But when I saw what was happening with how much time I was spending on my smartphone, it was a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call in terms of like how present I was being with my business, how present I was being with my family. And that was the precursor to doing something about it. Now, the next step to winning the game of smartphone addiction is to remove the triggers themselves. This is much like a diet where you go and remove all of the junk from your environment that would pull you away from being able to follow this diet in the first place. And this is one of the keys to just doing any habit, which is to set up your environment to win. So one of the things that I did was get rid of all these sounds that were coming out of my phone, because anytime that these sounds come up, they have this Pavlovian response for you to grab it to check like who is messaging you or whatever it is. That's the first thing, is like I got rid of all my sounds. The other thing I did was I got rid of all notifications except for the ones that I needed the most. On my iPhone right here, I have different settings to set for my focus. So one of the settings that I had was a setting called Family. And on Family, the only notifications I can get through are those from my immediate family and those from my extended family. So in that case, if there was an emergency, I can get notified and I can just make sure that I attend to it. Otherwise, everything else is not an emergency. So anything else that wasn't an emergency, I got rid of by getting rid of all sounds and notifications. And another thing that I did was change proximity. So the closer this phone is to you, the easier it's going to be to grab your phone, just like I did right now. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to set a mass amount of distance between you and the phone. So a couple of things I did was I would charge my phone in a completely different room when I was sleeping to make sure I don't even bring it into the vicinity of my bed. The other thing I did was I would leave my phone in completely different floors of the home. And I found that the farther away I am from the phone, the more I just don't even think about it. The closer it is to me, the more I crave it, the more I want to reach for it. Now, step number 3 is a big one, but it is so effective, which is to make your phone as ugly as possible. So part of what makes phones addictive is the colors and the stimulation that it brings to our senses. This is the reason why notifications are in red. It is all to get our attention to be drawn to the phone itself. So one of the things that I did was I put my phone on what is called grayscale mode. And grayscale mode is just making your phone black and white with no color whatsoever. So the more that I looked at my phone, the more I didn't want to look at my phone because it looked like a crumpled up newspaper. The key here is we want to make the phone look so ugly that we don't want to stare at it and we don't want to spend more time than we have to on it. And one of the best ways of doing that is to use grayscale on your phone and to keep your phone on perpetual grayscale mode. Step 4 is to have designated places inside of your home, your office, wherever it is, where they are absolute no phone zones. So a big one for us and our family was having the phone at the dinner table. We don't allow phones at the dinner table anymore. We don't allow the phone to even be on the dinner table anymore. And the reason why we do that is because even if I'm eating alone, a lot of times when I'm eating, I will pick up the phone and I will look at it while I'm like chomping on food, which is going to take away from my mindfulness of eating that food. And if my wife and I have the phones at the table, I mean, it is just going to increase the chance that we are going to be looking at it while we are supposed to be enjoying this wonderful meal with ourselves and our family. Another place that I put the no phone zone is the bathroom. So a lot of times, like every single day, I go out and I do my business in the bathroom. I'll sit there for a little bit, obviously, to do my business. And one of the things I'll do is I'll spend more time in the bathroom than I have to looking at my phone. So one of the things that I did was to replace my phone and to actually keep books inside my bathroom. So I'll read those instead of going on my phone. Another place that I've made a no phone zone is the gym. So one of the reasons I keep this watch on me, it's an Apple Watch. I'm able to track my workouts on my Apple Watch without having my phone present. That in and of itself allows me to get what I need to get done inside the gym, to not be scrolling Instagram or social media, spending more time than I really have to. And that has gone a long way to making my workouts a lot more focused and a lot more mindful. So you want to create caution tape or create these no phone zones around the places that matter. Another place that I would suggest is in your bedroom and inside of your bed. You definitely do not want to take a phone into your bed. It's going to ruin the intimacy. It's going to ruin any types of conversations you're going to have with your spouse. But yeah, there's many places to create no phone zones. I highly recommend it because you want to enhance the amount of mindfulness that you have in certain situations, and the phone just isn't going to do it. And the final step is to not avoid the phone, but to replace it. If we know anything about habits, it's that you can't necessarily avoid a habit. A habit needs to be replaced. There needs to be something in place to take the form of that habit. And if I tell you just like not to go on your phone, it's like telling you not to think of a pink elephant. You're gonna think of a pink elephant. It's just inevitable. So you want to replace the time that you would spend on your smartphone with things like walking, reading, playing sports, like whatever it is. You want to replace. You want to not avoid, you want to replace. And here's a little bonus. You should be tracking your screen time. You want to be tracking your weekly screen time, your daily screen time. Anything that you track is something that you're going to care about. And the more that you track something, you can actually make it a little bit of an experiment and a little bit of a game. I had a lot of fun with it because every single week I'm like, okay, so how can I eke down my screen time by just like a little bit? You don't have to do it like 50% off the bat, but you can do it just a little bit at a time. And then what happens is that compounds over time. So during my project of avoiding the screen and replacing it with things that are better, one of the things that I've realized is that this has brought so much more joy and presence into my life. And one of the things that I want to do when I look back on my life is I want to look back on my life and say that I lived my life. I didn't live it on the screen. I didn't live it in my Apple Vision Pro goggles or whatever it is. I actually lived life. And that's my hope for you. I hope that when it is time for you to be on your bed and to just like, be in your final moments, I hope you look back on your life and it is filled with amazing experiences. And usually those experiences happen outside of your face being on the phone. And that's how we take back 10 plus years of our lives. If you actually have some tactics that you use, I would love to hear it in the comments below. And one thing I want to just put out there is the fact that smartphones themselves are not dangerous. I am so grateful for my smartphone because it has brought me so much abundance, so much prosperity. It has allowed me to run my business from anywhere in the world. It's allowed me to share spicy tweets with everyone, with the hundreds of thousands of followers that I have on X and the followers I have on Instagram and LinkedIn. And it has made a massive benefit to my life. But the benefit turns into a curse when the tool controls you and you don't control it. So this is not to say that smartphones are bad. I don't really believe in right or wrong. I don't believe in good or bad. I just believe in nuance. And all of these tactics that I just shared with you are ways in which to control the smartphone, for you to have control over this device so it doesn't take over your life and doesn't take away life as well. So that being said, I hope you got some incredible value out of this video. And if you did, please subscribe to the channel. I love doing these. I love talking to you. I love the movement that we're creating and just creating like more present, healthy individuals. And again, I'm going to be doing these videos every single week. So click on that subscribe button and I will see you on the next video. Peace.